Hi, it's Katrina. Number 10. Orca Madness. Killer whales are going on a rampage. Off the coast of Iberia in Europe, no less than 3 boats have sunk from orca attacks. Experts think orcas are destroying boats and teaching their friends how to do it as well. In May 2023, off the coast of Spain, 3 killer whales attacked a yacht and pierced the rudder. According to what skipper Werner Schaffelberger told reporters, the small orca attacked the rudder while the big one continuously rammed the ship in the side. The orca succeeded in sinking the vessel, then escaped like thieves in the night. 2 days before that, a pod of 6 killer whales attacked a sailboat in the same area. Those on board looked on helplessly as the mother orca showed her young calf how to rip apart the rudder. Moments later, they were sinking. Researchers are desperately trying to figure out what is going on. Interactions between boats and orcas in European waters have been on the rise since 2020. Alfredo Lopez Fernandez, a biologist at the University of Aveiro, says there have been over 500 events in the last 3 years. However, it was only this year that ships started to sink. It looks like the whales are learning. If this is true, nobody on a boat is safe. Scientists are just hoping they can understand the behavior before people and orcas start getting injured. People could start using violence against the orcas, and the orcas could start attacking more boats and drowning people. This could be the beginning of a war between humans and orcas. How did it start? Normally, orcas are peaceful and don't attack people in the wild, but the theory is that an orca might have had a traumatic event with a boat and then went back to its pod and shared that information. So now all of them are learning to attack the boats. Another theory is that the orcas are just playing with humans. Do you have any theories on why killer whales are acting like this? Let me know in the comments. Number 9. The UB-85. On April 30th, 1918, World War I was in full swing. Captain Gunther Krech, fighting on the side of the Germans, was captured by the British warship HMS Coreopsis. When he was questioned by the British, the captain revealed an unbelievable story. Captain Krech said the only reason he and his team were captured was because they had been attacked by a massive creature from the deep. A sea monster had come up from the darkness of the ocean floor, attacked their submarine, and left them no choice but to surface. Crew members on board the UB-85 described the beast as having horns, monstrous teeth, and creepy, deep-set eyes. The monster was so big that when it rammed into the vessel, it caused the submarine to tilt. Then the thing was crawling all over it. It smashed the forward gun and bit chunks out of the submarine. Krech had no choice but to surface and abandon ship, then surrender to the British. This horror story has been around for over 100 years. Most war historians have chalked it up to embarrassed soldiers. Most people think the captain and his crew made the whole thing up. Others believe they were indeed attacked by a preposterously big squid. Only recently was the submarine identified while a Scottish power company was laying underwater power cables. Sonar scans revealed the wreckage of the submarine sitting at the bottom of the ocean. It could be a while before experts are able to inspect the wreckage more closely. If they find claw marks in the metal of the submarine, it could be the first authenticated sea monster attack in modern history. Number 8. Surrounded by sharks. A couple in Louisiana recently found themselves in a bit of a situation when their boat was surrounded by nearly 50 sharks. The couple, Dylan May and Caitlin Dix, were out fishing for yellowfin tuna off the Venice coast. As they were enjoying their fishing trip, a shark showed up. Then another one. Within a few short minutes, the water, as far as they could see around their boat, was frothing with shark activity. Dylan told ABC News it was like the water had started to boil. They managed to catch the terrifying encounter on video, and it's every bit as scary as you would imagine. It's the worst nightmare of anyone who couldn't sit through Jaws. The silver lining here is that the sharks most likely weren't interested in the couple or their boat. The reason the water boiled with angry sharks was because they were after the same fish as Dylan and Caitlin. Still, the scene was enough to make the couple pack up and move on for the day. And now for number 7, but first, it's shoutout time! I want to say a big thank you to Carrie Brady and Liam Cornforth for supporting this channel. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to join the Origins Explained family. Number 7. The U.S. Navy versus the Kraken. The USS Stein was a Navy frigate that came under attack in 1978. The radar system on board the ship suddenly died. The USS Stein was in trouble, so they headed for land. When they reached the dry dock, engineers investigated the sonar dome to see what was wrong with the equipment. They were shocked to find the rubber coating of the dome completely shredded. There were massive tears in the equipment, some of them 4 feet long. It looked to the engineers as though something with incredibly big teeth had bitten into the sonar dome. Something, presumably an animal, had scratched the ship's equipment with monster claws. Nobody physically saw the attack with their own eyes, and to this day, nobody has ever been able to explain what caused the damage. Navy biologist F.G. Wood was called to inspect the coating. His conclusion was that animal claws were surely responsible for the big tears. He believed a massive squid had attacked the Navy vessel. Others speculated it may have been a swarm of crocodiles or alligators. F.G. Wood even suggested the creature that ripped apart the rubber coating may have been unknown to science at the time. The snags were so large that if he was right about the squid being the culprit, it must have been the biggest squid in the ocean, at an estimated 150 feet long. Do you think a squid that big exists? Could it be a real-life Kraken? Or was the USS Stein the victim of a swarm of hungry alligators? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Number 6. The Creature from the Deep. In the southernmost state of Brazil, Rio Grande do Sul, a fisherman was recently attacked by an unidentified sea creature. It's not entirely clear what happened, though the 47-second video has surfaced online and garnered a lot of attention. The video of the attack shows an unidentifiable mass with glowing eyes chasing after the man's boat. It leaps from the water multiple times in the footage, chasing the fisherman as he desperately tries to get away. The creature is only vaguely visible in the clip. It moves through the water like a dolphin, but looks a lot more like an extraterrestrial freak. It nearly catches up to the boat as well, but loses the vessel at the last second. According to what the fisherman said, the creature was trying to attack him. He was genuinely scared for his life. In the wake of the bizarre encounter, one man has tried to identify the animal. Pedro Enrique Tunes Pereira works for the National Council for Scientific and Technological Development. He believes the creature was nothing but an ordinary sea lion. You would think the fisherman had seen his share of sea lions throughout his career and would be able to recognize one. Even in the dark, a sea lion is fairly obvious. Either the fisherman was mistaken and the creature that attacked him was an ordinary pinniped, or something more sinister is lurking along the coast of Brazil. Number 5. The Valhalla and the Sea Serpent. The Valhalla RYS was a steam yacht famous around the world for its beauty and unique reading. The ship participated in the Kaiser's transatlantic race in 1905. Later that same year, the steam yacht had an encounter with the Sea Serpent. The Valhalla was a research vessel between 1902 and 1908 under the ownership of Lord Crawford. The ship was used to explore the ocean and log any interesting encounters. These 6 years of exploration resulted in a massive book detailing a collection of islands and animal life. The ship would serve in World War I, then was wrecked in 1922 off Cape St. Vincent. On December 7, 1905, British naturalists Michael J. Nichol and E.G.B. Meade Waldo saw something neither man had ever thought they would see. They were on the deck of the yacht gazing out at the water off the coast of Brazil. From the water rose a large dorsal fin. It was moving about 100 yards from the yacht. The researchers described it as a dark seaweed color, sort of crinkly and about 6 feet long. Then the creature got a whole lot bigger. Its head rose from the water on the end of a long, serpent-like neck. The neck was about as thick as a man's body as it jutted 8 feet out of the water. Meade Waldo wrote that it had a turtle-like appearance, but was most certainly a sea serpent. Neither of the naturalists was able to see the creature's body. All they could make out was a black shape under the water, and although it didn't attack the boat, it did go down in history as one of the most reliable Sea Serpent encounters ever. Number 4. The U28 Creature. On July 30th, 1915, the captain of a German submarine recorded a very unusual encounter in his logbook. Freiherr George G. von Forstner wrote that after his vessel, the U-28, torpedoed a British steamer, a sea monster appeared before them. The steamer sank very quickly, with its bow stuck straight into the air. Then the hull of the Iberian vanished, its wreckage slowly sinking deeper and deeper. Seconds before it completely disappeared from sight, there was a violent explosion. It looked like something had burst through the sinking ship in an eruption. Debris was propelled out of the water. Among the scraps of the ship appeared a monster the likes of which no one on the U-28 had ever seen. Captain von Forstner wrote in his log that he had 6 officers standing with him as they gaped in wonder at the creature. After the creature reared its head out of the water, it became tangled up in the debris of the exploded ship. Nobody on deck could identify it, but all agreed it looked sort of like a crocodile, only it was 60 feet long. The creature was seen squirming through the rapidly sinking wreckage for about 15 seconds, and then the crew lost sight of it. What makes this encounter so exciting is that German sea captains in World War I didn't typically make up stories. If the captain said he saw a monster, then he saw a monster. Maybe it was a prehistoric reptile, maybe a trick of the current, but most historians agree he definitely saw something that day. Number 3. The Gulf of Tonkin Monster. The United States of America officially entered the Vietnam War in August 1964 after the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution. The resolution gave President Lyndon Johnson the right to defend member states of the Southeast Asia Treaty Organization. It was prompted by 2 incidents. The first took place on August 2nd and saw the USS Maddox come under attack by North Vietnamese naval forces. The second incident happened 2 days later with the USS Turner Joy. However, some have suggested it wasn't North Vietnam at all. The ships may have been the victims of sea monster attacks. If true, the Vietnam War could be blamed on a sea beast. The ships believed they were attacked by torpedoes, although it was never proven. Even at the time, the U.S. Navy doubted any attack had occurred. U.S. Task Group Commander John J. Herrick told Washington the reports of torpedo fire were doubtful. There had been no visual sightings of any enemies. Yet the soldiers on the Turner Joy had blasted into the dark water with their guns and launched depth charges. They hit nothing. Those on board claimed they saw glowing lights in the water as they were attacked. They also picked up strange shapes on their sonar equipment. If it wasn't the North Vietnamese, who was it in the water that night? It may have been giant pyrosomes floating near the surface of the water. These colonies of invertebrates can grow over 60 feet long and emit a pale blue glow. U.S. Navy personnel may have been mistakenly besieged by nothing but peaceful colonies of sea creatures, and it led to a brutal war. What do you think happened that night? Let me know in the comments. Number 2. Snatched overboard. In Australia's Northern Territory, Bill Scott lost his life on a fishing trip. It was June 2014, and Bill was on a boat in Kakadu National Park. He was having a great fishing trip and paused to fill a bucket when the unimaginable happened. A crocodile jumped out of the water, snatched Bill into its jaws, and it ate him. This was a huge shock because crocodiles are not typically brave enough to attack ships. If a fisherman leans too close to the water, there is always the possibility that they could be snatched. But Bill wasn't doing anything that should have placed him in harm's way. He was just on his boat fishing when the crocodile leapt from the water. Yes, it's true that crocodiles will bite boats and launch themselves at the side of boats, but this was the first time a fisherman was ambushed by a crocodile in the Northwest Territories like he'd been assassinated. The crocodile jumped, snatched Bill by the left shoulder, and a blink later, he was gone forever. Number 1. The Leviathan. In 1820, a violent attack unfolded in the Pacific Ocean. A sperm whale viciously assaulted a group of American whalers on November 20th, sinking their ship, the Essex. The attack was so incredible that years later it inspired Herman Melville to write his famous novel, Moby Dick. By the end of the 20th century, human beings had brought the sperm whale to the brink of extinction. There were over 1 million in the world's oceans in 1712. By the year 2000, only about a quarter of them were left. It should come as no surprise that some of the whales did not go down without a fight. The sperm whale that attacked the Essex had likely seen its friends poached by human whale hunters, maybe even its own family members. It saw the ship sailing thousands of miles from the coast of South America and made its move. The whale rammed into the ship with enough force that it splintered to pieces. The crew was forced to abandon ship and take to the open seas on a glorified life raft. What happened next was even more terrifying than the whale. There was no water and barely any food. Many of the men died at sea in the first days and weeks. The ones who died first were cannibalized by the few who remained. By the time the survivors of the Leviathan's attack were rescued 3 months later, 7 crew members had been eaten. Thanks for watching! What sea monster scares you the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up for more. See you next time. Bye!